everyone. This is Reverend Kenneth Price on Sunday, October 13th with Reverend Dale Blackford for our Sunday, for his Sunday afternoon Freedom from Suffering Zoom. I don't know what we call this. It's not a Zoom call. I guess it would. It's a is it a sermon or a podcast or a satsang anyway? It's something we've been doing since early spring with the ministry that we started together, two or more are one.com. And I do not have a title because the titles come after the podcasts are complete. We listen very carefully. I listen very carefully because I'm doing all the video editing. And last week, last week I came up with a title, Jesus did not die for our sins, but actually those weren't your exact words. Your exact words last week were, Jesus did not come to save us, he came to awaken us. But I had already done the graphics, so anyway. But it's true anyway. I'm getting you hear Dale smiling there to ear. Anyway, Reverend Dale Blackford's been a minister for decades and decades. I've only been a minister since January, but we're all ministers because what is about a minister is about extending, and serving. So I guess we're all ministers if we choose to extend or serve. So anyway, how you doing this week, Dale? What's new? We got
Doing
an hour.
well. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah, I think I'm doing all right. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I had a woman I was talking to, and she said, "Oh, who's that guy that was on your show, your podcast?" And she said, "I like him. He's real." And that's why I like doing this too, because she said, "Oh, he's not giving a lot of spiritual teachings. He's just laying out his direct experience." And that's for years. That's why I've been wanting to record these. So here we go. I finally got a chance to record you, or formally.
Well, it's been an interesting. Yeah, I had done my partner. She goes to this Methodist church, and I take her to the Methodist church, at which really churches, as far as the messages, they don't really mean anything to me anymore. In fact, I mean, they're okay. They're just all this stuff, and I go because of the people and the consciousness, and then I sit with that. And today I did. They have me every few months. They have me do what they call their children's hour, where I sit with the kids and what I did is, like, today I just was talking to them. The theme was like the golden rule or something like that. So I'm sitting there talking with them about the golden rule. I feel like most people won't get this because it's so old, it dates me. But it's like I'm Art Linkletter talking to these kids, Kids say the darndest things. And it's funny because the guy that does the audio afterwards, he's telling me, he's saying, God, that was so good, because I know it's good because what I do is I ask them questions and then listen to them, and then, ask them questions based on that. And they're really open to questions, and they really have interesting responses. But afterwards it was kind of interesting because the same fellow said something. I said, next time I do this, I said, I want to get instead of a ear microphone where I speak and I have to repeat what they say, I want to get a handheld mic so I can put it in front of their face and people can hear what they say, because they broadcast this stuff too. They stream it. And it was kind of funny because then he said something that, again, I went, oh yeah, I guess that's how people think. He said, yeah, he said, we've talked about that, but sometimes we're a little scared of that because you never know what kids are going to say, and it's live. They could say anything. And I sit there and I didn't say anything, but I'm like going like, yeah, that's the point. They're real. They are real. And the whole process becomes real. And when you have a real conversation with someone, everybody gets pretty excited about that because they're so used to sanitized, scripted, or manipulated types of outputs and inputs, so that to make sure that things go a certain way. And I'm like, I want to see the rough stuff. I want to see the raw stuff. It reminded me of they sang a song too, and it reminded me of a song we used to sing when I was in ministry, about what is that song? It's called "We Are One in the Spirit, We Are One in the Lord." And there's a number of verses for that. We are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord, we are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord. And we know that our unity is this day now restored. Unity would sing it like that. There's traditional verses, but at the last ministry I was at, or not the last, one of them, we gotten a verse somewhere that I really love for that song, and almost wanted to interrupt them all when they're singing it and say, "Can we sing this verse?" Because that one was it was this: we are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord, we are one in the Spirit, we are one in the Lord, and we know that our unity is this day now restored, and we know we are brothers or sisters or family by our love, by our love. Yes, we know we are family all by our love. Then that wasn't the actual verse. The verse that I like is this one. It goes, I love it. It's like, we will walk with each other. We will share how we feel. We will walk with each other. We will share how we feel. And the bonds of our friendship will be open and real. And we know we are family by our love, by our love. Yes, we know we are family by our love. But that whole thing of when we share, you share what's inside us. It's like that's like it's better than any book or anything, because it's God speaking when we share what we feel. It's God speaking. And especially when we share how we feel, because you can't, if you really share how you feel, you don't have any real sense of meaning as to what it all means. You're just sharing, you can feel sad, you can feel angry, you can feel excited, you can feel bored, you can feel all kinds of things. But if you really look at it, when you share those feelings, I mean, if you stop there and just share your feeling, you really see how absurd it is to try and figure out why it is you feel what you're feeling, or what is going on that makes you feel this way, because you don't know. And it's infinite. There's this something. It's your life that's going on. It isn't really about what someone feels. It's like access to reality. Sharing your feeling and getting in touch with that is access to reality, especially if you stay away from the labels so much. Like, you could say I'm feeling sad, or I'm just feeling confused, or I'm feeling lost, things like that, where they're just powerful ways to express yourself and to bring out the truth. And it creates a conversation, and not just a conversation, but a realness to the presence of both of you there that is hard to get to any other way other than doing that. And thus again too, the two are more are one. Um, why this website and why the ministry we've created is named that, because it's this mystery of connecting that way and seeing what comes through from that, experiencing that. So now, not even what comes through, but where it takes us. It's like a journey, like this incredible adventure discovery that we can go into. And when you go into it, it's like a part of you right away not just a part, the whole of you will say, "Oh my gosh, I have missed this. I have missed this place, being here with you in this place." Where, in that place of sharing what you what you feel together, there's no right or wrong. There's just a reality of what's going on with you and them, and that exploration of where that takes you, and that really brings us to amazing places as far as our presence, our oneness. Yeah, it's just it's really what children do before they get educated to do anything else, other than that. Yeah. So, excuse me. So, any rate, yeah, present in the moment feeling is very powerful, very powerful. Yeah.
I mean, that's how simple it's become on my journey. I mean, I've said it several times this week to several different people. I mean, it's almost like that. I mean, you probably know the Bible. Well, you're a minister, you do. I don't know the Bible, but is it somewhere in the Bible that says the camel searches the world over for its own scent?
Oh, there's something like that. Yeah, I've heard that. And that is, yeah, it searches the world. I think Ramakrishna said it once, where he called it the famed musk deer. He said the famed musk deer searches the world over for the scent that comes from itself.
And I, and then all great, works, the Joseph Campbell's Hero's Journey, the Wizard of Oz. I mean, Wizard of Oz was actually that's a very deep and profound journey that they took to discover they had it inside themselves. But we have to take that journey, all of us. I was listening to a mystic, and I can't remember because I listened to so many of them, who said that we have to go out into the world, and like Krishnamurti said, don't believe a word I said, put it to the test yourself. We all have to go out there to realize that there's nothing out there for us. This is a very, very deep, deep place. And usually when and this is one of the things I like about you, Dale, is you've touched on the dark night of the soul, because when we realize that there's nothing out there that can help us, it can be very disconcerting. Oh my, a lot of people say, if there's nothing out there, what's the point?
Well, right. Plus, it also what it really points to, which your mind will say, because I remember when I did that with my ego, and the first thing the egoic mind said when I said I couldn't do the things it was asking me to do, it right away came back and went, well, then do I no longer need to exist? I mean, am I to die? And right away I said, oh no, we don't know that. We don't know that you're to die. We just know that this is what it is. You're screaming and yelling at me. I've created you. That threat, danger, Will Robinson, danger, Will Robinson. And I'm sitting here going like, well, I don't know. Maybe there is danger, but the point is I can't do anything about the danger because I don't have any faith in it anymore, that my efforts or what my perception of what it is has any reality. So to get out of that pin, that hamster wheel that goes round and round and round and round and round, with the thoughts like that, the thought that comes for most people is that yourself, who you believe yourself to be, is going to die, and that the world you've fashioned, or however you want to look at the world you have believed in, is going to die. And I don't know that that's true, but I do know it will very much change. It will expand much larger than the real thing is. The death is the death of the control of it, the death to be able to keep it in a small thimbleful of awareness. You are not able to do that anymore. And once that happens, it's like the kids, with the mic. Anything can happen. They could say anything. Anything can happen. But then it gets to the reality, like, okay, if we live in a friendly universe, then if anything can happen, is there any need of fear of that? Actually, that's an embrace. It's like anything can happen, and the universe has got our backs and everything, because there's nothing challenging us, nothing to harm us. So we can kick out the jams and really set sail in the whole of the universe to explore like a child, like a wide open, eyes open, exploring, and this is what we do. This is, interesting. This worldly experience is such a small, little, tiny, compressed little experience factory we have, and we all end up letting it go. At least when we pass away, we let the body go, and the mind, all the sense of self, we let that go when we pass on. But while we're here, it's like there's that part that wants to. We say we don't want it to, phone's ringing. We say that we don't want it to suffer, but in reality, we do. We want to suffer because that's the only way we can keep control, is to suffer, to realize that, something is wrong, something needs to change. And if I'm here to change something, then, and that's of course, that's suffering, is to have to change, and you don't even know how to change. You don't know what to change. You don't even know if you should change. That gets back to last week when I said about in 12-step groups, where the serenity prayer, it's like, it's a high reflection of an insane place, a higher reflection, but still of insane reality. Because when you say, like, I want the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, right away, if you're becoming aware, you're saying, wait a minute, why would I change anything? Accept the things, accept the things What the first is the courage to change the things I can. How's it go? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's a very hostile universe. That is a very hostile universe. Really hostile. And and once you see that, because you're locked into this, it's like, okay, well, where's this God that's got your back and everything in the freedom and the oneness and that you are the light of the world? Where is that in a world where you have to decide what needs to be changed, and have the courage to change what you should, and know the difference about it? I sit there and I go, no mas, no mas. I check out. The ego goes, you're not going to do anything with this, are you? I go, hell no, I ain't gonna do anything with this. I mean, I don't know what's going on, other than I know bliss is going on, and it's showing up in a lot of different ways, and ways that I see, ways that I know, ways that I don't see, don't know, ways that I expect and I have judged as good, ways that I've expected and I judge as bad, all that stuff. And yet I kick out the jams because I want to see, I want to know, I want to see how the universe actually plays out. And when that happens, it's kind of interesting, because even like, I come from the unity tradition, that's my ministry, but I mean, I can't really teach. I could teach some of classic Charles Fillmore, because Fillmore was a mystic. And if you check his readings and stuff and his talks, you'll see that in him. You'll see where he basically is almost contradicting himself in some of the things he says, because the stuff about using the mind, because I look at, I listen to Krishnamurti, who reflect, and it's not like I get these ideas from him, but it's the support I get from Krishnamurti, where I go, yeah, 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 that's right, yeah. And Krishnamurti, I don't know how he said it, but it's almost like he says to Boehm in the ending of time, he's almost like he's saying, well, he says that one thing, he says the only sane thought one can have is the only sane thought one can have at first is, all my thoughts are insane. Or he says irrational. The only rational thought you can have is, all my thoughts are irrational. Okay? So tell me, what that means. If all your thoughts are irrational, what is all this stuff about goal setting, about making a better life, imagining a better world? It's all thinking, and it's all crazy. It's all irrational. All right? And then Krishnamurti has nice terms for it, because he gave terms to things I was experiencing. And I went, yeah, I've already seen that. I've felt that. And that is, you can live in a world of using your mind to reflect back on all the things that's stored in there and take different looks at it and get triggered by the whole world all the time to do this, don't do that, and stay in that crazy place, that hostile place. Or there's sometimes, it usually happens when you're collapsing, like when your world is collapsing, which it was for me. My world was collapsing, and it didn't, I couldn't do anything anymore. And then I would start to hear more of what he calls insight, which is new vision, beyond, things that I haven't considered, that I haven't seen. They're like come through me, and I go, oh, I never saw that. That would be true, wouldn't it? And that insight is like something that we have available to us in the moment. In the moment, I don't want to say every moment, in the moment, it's 100% available to see and use your mind as a vessel for that. Open it up and be an open vessel for the flow of that coming in and around all through you. You have that. Or you can even take little bits of it, which is what we do tend to take little bits if we do get it, and then try and fit it in with the thinking and the higher thinking and the lower, whatever it is, to try and manipulate it. We won't say that, but we really are trying to manipulate our world. And where we're really asked, what we see in the insight is we're fully provided for in every way. For everything, not just that we need, but everything we desire. It's all there. But the catch is, we have to let go and follow it. Not even follow it. We have to be immersed into it and not check out to think. I mean, the process of the work of thinking nowadays for people like you and myself and other mystics is not to create better thoughts. Oh, no. That's the same old, same old. The idea is to use your thinking to say, something like this. You know what? My thinking is not even to stop thinking, to just point out know the truth that makes you free, which is, oh, when I'm thinking, I'm batshit crazy. When I'm thinking, I'm batshit crazy. And when I'm not thinking, when I'm waiting and just observing, I'm sane. So then you're using your mind not to stop your thinking, not to create a better world. You're using your thinking to stop yourself from using it. That's
Wait,
the You're using your thinking to stop yourself from thinking. And not,
wait,
no, not even stop yourself from thinking, because you can't really do that. But it's like you're using your thinking to take away all meaning in your mind for what your thinking is doing. So that you can sit there and go, then when your ego is saying, well, why aren't you reacting to this? Why aren't you, what are we going to do? You sit there and you go, like an innocent child, you go, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I just know that I can't, I don't have any faith in this anymore. I don't know what it is. Before I knew what insight was, and I'd experienced it, and I wasn't trying to live in insight. I just knew that thinking wasn't working for me. Thinking was not working for me. It was first of all, I was creating the same old, and then it started getting to the point where I couldn't even create the same old, same old. It's like being, you're a caterpillar, and you're still, no matter what you do, you're saying, look, well, I'm a caterpillar. But I have some really butterfly thoughts, and I'm going to work on manifesting the butterfly. I'm really going to work on that because I am a higher butterfly than a caterpillar. So I'm going to imagine and work with that in my mind and my thoughts and thoughts like that. Well, to become a butterfly, you got to go in the cocoon, and basically your caterpillar mind and everything, in a sense, dies. It loses all. What are you going to do in the cocoon? Like you can't affect anything, and you're sitting there and you're going, okay. And then you get it. You get that like, okay, this is the whole thing. If you cannot affect any change, you don't cease to exist. All that happens is you're sitting there going like, well, now what? And that's the universe clapping and applauding, saying, you're serious about that. And now what? God, finally to get your attention. And now what? you know and here's what. And then you lock in upon it again, and say, oh, but I'm back at this place, and the universe is saying, yeah, because you're trying to use it again. you know does that work? And after a while, after you practice it, it isn't even the practice, but when you start on this path, that's why we're doing these talks and stuff like that, about people who have found themselves released into this path. They start to realize that they're utter failures at the world. They're total failures at the world. And then at some point they realize, whoa, I'm actually, what I've been trying to accomplish, and I didn't even know that's what it was, is actually happening to me, because I can't do this. I can't stay in my addiction anymore. I can't stay in my self addiction anymore, because I have no faith in it. I have no juice. I have no place to go with it. You take that sigh, and then insight flows in. You see, it isn't even like it flows in. It's really like your mind opens up so you can see the flow, and that you're already in, and go, oh, wow. And then it's like, I'm safe, aren't I? I'm not only safe, I'm prospered. I mean, the world is free now, isn't it? The days of the, I was thinking the other day, I remember growing up and thinking, like, I just hated it every time that I had to get a job or find a place to live. I hated that. I hated it. I got to get another job, or I got to find a place to live. And to be like, oh shit, I don't know how to do that right. I got to do all these things that the world sets up like that, and people tell me how to do it. Maybe I get the right connections. Well, now I go, why would I get a job? Why would I seek a job? Why would I seek a place to live? I mean, the universe provides all of that. I'm just I'm gonna relax and watch it flow. And then I'm led. I'm living in a luxury apartment right now up in the sky, that that I don't know how I got here, but here I am. Here I am, and I'm enjoying it. And it could change in a moment, and I'd be going like, wonder where this is going. Wonder where this is going. This is great. But the days of trying to provide for myself, like when Jesus said that in the Gospel of John, was interpreted when he was talking about the only begotten Son. And he's saying that men preferred evil, darkness. Men avoided the light because they sought. I'm paraphrasing, but not much. It's like they sought darkness because their deeds were evil. That was not paraphrased, because their deeds were evil. He said it twice, that they would work in the darkness because their deeds were evil. They did not want to be seen. They did not want to see themselves, what they were doing. And when I looked up in Strong's exhaustive concordance, the word evil, because there were two, he said it twice. And I've looked, that's a powerful word in English, evil, a lot of connotations. So I wanted to know, and in Strong's concordance, there's probably just in Greek alone, there's probably 7 or 8 root interpretations of evil, of the way it's translated back. So I looked at that one, and then what do I find? It says goes right to a prime root, the one that Jesus was using, and the meaning of that root in Greek was what again?
Toil for subsistence.
Toil for subsistence. Yes, toiling for subsistence. And talk about hostile, talk about insane. You're the light of the world. People who listen to this, you're the light of the world. You have every reason to be here and be celebrated. The sun shines on you in glory because of who you are eternally. And yet you have to pay your way. You have to figure out in this world how to make the money and all the arrangements and everything work so you can get the meager existence that you and your thinking has said you deserve, or maybe less than deserve, or just get close to you. It's like, God, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Now, that doesn't stop you from doing it. What stops you from doing it is when it starts to collapse, when it collapses. That's why I'm doing this series, because in me, it's in a deep stage of collapse. It hasn't fully collapsed, all of this stuff, but some of it has. And some of it, and the rest of it is really like, it's real clear that it's on sand. It's all shifting on sand. And I'm going, even if I'm acting it out, I'm going like, Dale, this thing's on sand. It has no stability at all. There's no reality to this at all. You're just dealing with past fears and past beliefs and stuff like that. I go, yeah, I know that is, but I guess I'm enjoying the thrill right now of the drama. And the Spirit's going, well, yeah, as long as it's the thrill of the drama is a thrill, but when it turns to the suffering of the drama, and it will, all of it turns to the suffering of the drama, because it wears out. It wears you out. What's his face? I don't know who said it. Was either Yogananda or Krishnamurti was talking about that and said, you can do all that and it breaks your bones, it crushes your spirit. And he says, and once you realize that, then you just very naturally will live with a smile upon your face, because it's free. Everything's free. And the other way, heavy cost of it, heavy cost that never ends, as long as you believe in your sense of self and the world, that you're here to be, that you're to be here to affect change in the world. You're not here to do that, and that eventually wears out. Even if it takes all your life, like to your 90 years old, and you go, I'm just tired, I want to give up the ghost. And then you start to give up the ghost, and you go, oh my God, I was free though. I don't think there's any regret on it. I think it's like, I've been free the whole time. And you let go of everything. You let go of everything, and you see everything. I don't know what that, I can't go beyond, I can't go any farther than that, because that's a mystical direction that I don't think that, especially in this world, I could even come close to conceptualizing. I wouldn't even dare to conceptualize it. I don't like to conceptualize getting a job, let alone let alone what, the meaning of the afterlife is, or not even the afterlife, but the meaning of letting go is. Although there is precedent for that, because every time I let go in this world, it's bliss. It's bliss. Letting go, full letting go is full letting go of anything is bliss. It's bliss. That it's bliss. It's freedom. It's bliss. It's bliss until you pick something up from it again and start holding on to it, trying to control it, and and get yourself caught up in it again. But even then, as you get wiser with that, you realize even that's just, that's like a conversation with your ego, and ego saying, well, we should be worried about this, I think, but you don't seem to have any energy for worry anymore, do you? And I go, no, I don't. Uh, I don't. Well, what's going to happen to us? Well, I don't know. As far as what this us stuff is, I know what's happening to. I am the observer. I am, I am as I have always been. I'm the light of the world. I'm the light of the world, and I'm starting to experience what being the light of the world is in this world, and that's bliss. Being the light of the world in this world is bliss. That's why Jesus could be crucified, and when his disciples wanted to stop it, he could basically, like I could act it out, say it's almost like he could bitch slap him and say, "Hey, stop this shit. This is good. You get behind me. Get out of the way, Peter. Get out of the way. I don't have time to mess right now with this little small view. I'm opening up to the whole of it now, and I need to do that. And all of you will, every one of you who are my closest friends on this earth, the closest connection I have to reality in a human consciousness, all of you will go to sleep here because you will not be able to see what I'm doing or follow me in any way. And that's okay, because you're still working on that and you will work through that. But here I have an opportunity to mentor the opening, and I am the opening. I am the way, the truth, and the life. When he said that, he meant it. Not Jesus, the person, not Jesus, the carpenter, not even Jesus. I guess the best thing we could call it is Christ, or I am. He said, I am. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am. And everyone who is on this planet, that's their name. That's their mantra. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Well, you're saying that you're God then. Yeah, I'm saying that I'm God. Yeah, yeah. Because there's nothing else. I'm God. I'm God. What do you want me to do with that? Other than, say, breathe into it and say, yeah, I've been pretending that I'm on my way to God, or that God's looking for me, or God's setting tests for me, or God's becoming a bitch or a jerk at times and really forsaking me. That's me doing that. That ain't God. That's me. That's my interpretation of what's happening here. And even that is not true. It's not real. It's just dust in the wind. That's all it is. Dust in the wind.
Can I stop you real second, because I've been smiling this whole time, but I've learned long enough, Dale. I got to let you just go from start to finish. But I do got to tell you, I found the title for the Zoom call. When I'm thinking, I'm batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I laugh, Dale, but I listen to you very carefully. I say this every time because very few people can actually say what you. This is why I've got to get you on recording. I've got to get it recorded. Very few people can actually put into words the message itself. This is the Christ. This is the Christ message. You can't compromise with his words. Yeah, I mean, this is a struggle I've been having. A lot of. Have you ever said, how many dinner parties have you sat with? There's a yeah, but what about your health insurance? Yeah, but what about the car insurance? Yeah, but and you can't. You can't go there, because then you just go back inside the hamster wheel. Dale, you're pointing beyond the veil, and here's how something I did want to share with you. Because I've been struggling, the whole time you've known me, there's always, struggle in my, parable at some degree or another. But it finally clicked in the last week, because I haven't let go. That's obvious. I have not let go. How, and that's been the whole premise of our friendship and your talks is let go. And then it dawned on me, I'm not supposed to let go. I'm supposed to allow. Now this had to be a direct experience because when I and by letting go, it's the stories. I've got to let go of the story. And use it on my new age training. I got to think of a better thought, or I've got to manipulate the story. Or I've got to see it from a different perspective, which is fine. You got to start there, but I reached one of these points of collapse that you've been talking about the last half hour, where I realized I've tried everything, and the story has become flypaper. It's literal flypaper. So what I've been practicing is actually allowing the story. All right, story, and by story, maybe it's synonymous with the ego, because this is the same message. I've said, okay, all right, story. You and I are going to be here for another, probably close to 30 years. So how about if we shake hands? And Dale, I started to feel some relief. I started to notice that there's the place inside of Kenneth that is able to allow the story was not inside of that hamster cage. And then inside the hamster cage there's a hamster wheel. But this is really deep stuff. That's not deep. I mean, saints and mystics have been telling for thousands of years, but for us to finally get, for at least I'm talking about myself, when I finally got it, all right, don't try and heal it. How about if we turn around and start loving it instead? I don't know how to do that, but I listen to you every Sunday, and I pick up more and more encouragement that just your message itself. Maybe nothing has ever gone wrong in my story. Now, the world would disagree. You're supposed to, like I've said to you every week, families are supposed to stay together. Well, according to the world, okay. But when the story of the family brings a man enough suffering, I'm realizing maybe the world's stories just aren't, you know, maybe they're all inside of a one of those. We used to have habit trails as kids, where we used to have our hamsters. Maybe it's just the world is one big habit trail with a lot of hamster wheels. But
Yeah.
and this has been your message, the whole time I've known you, is this, it does take, and again, people just they just come after. I'm surprised they haven't crucified me to a cross yet, because it's taken suffering in my story to finally throw up my hands, like you said, and said, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
And
That's release to surrender. The like being batshit crazy is beautiful. Being kind of crazy is suffering. It's suffering because you got this attachment, and you got the dog in the race still, and you're going like, we're going to turn this sucker around, the depression stuff, keep moving forward. Hell with moving forward. Fall completely apart. Let it fall. Let the curtain part and see who's pulling the strings behind the curtain. And then when you see that, the one behind the curtain says, "Oh God, I'm caught. You can't. You see that I'm just I'm just manipulating things, and I don't know what I'm doing." And it's like, and then it says, "What's going to happen to me? Am I going to die?" And that was for me when I went, "No, you're not going to die." And not only that, I think I can finally really fully love you now for who you are, that you're the one trying so hard in this world to make it work, and all the decks stacked against you, and still you try. That's that whole thing about good, you fall down, get up and try again, that noble part of that. It's still insane, but it is a noble part of us that tries to get up and still fix it, but it still leads to that place where we go, I'm just totally batshit crazy. I give up. And then when that giving up happens, then everything you can love it all, and you can say, well, it all fits together. I don't know how. It's like this thing at the church when I did the things with the kids, and we are talking about doing the golden rule, and I asked them about how it'd been things that happened to them that they didn't want to have happen themselves, so that like they wanted to do things to go like, well, what could you do that would give you thing, and they talked about bullying, and not being heard, and all all kinds of stuff like that, and I said, what I said to them was this. I said, because they're small and they know this, and I'm going to get my licks in. That nobody else is going to tell them this. So I'm going to tell them something they know, and I'm going to say, basically I'm saying, nobody's going to stand with you on this, but I'm going to stand with you on this. You're going to know that one person, an adult, is standing with you on this. And that is this, practice the golden rule. Yes, give love where give what you want from others, especially when they're not giving you what you want, because that's the most important time to do it. Give what you want to them. And then I said, but I tell you this Jesus said that was the golden rule, but he didn't say this, and you need to remember this. He didn't say, how's the word, the thing I forgot right now. It's like do unto others, that's it. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you, and then hang around and see how it works out. He didn't say that. He did not say that at all. He said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and then you let it go. You let God work it out. You let the Spirit work it out, because you have no idea how that's going to play out. I mean, people have done kind things for me, forgiven me in ways that I didn't get right away. And years later, I was sitting doing something. I went, oh my God, that was a gift they gave me. I think it was a conscious gift. Oh my God, someone loved me that much to give me that. It changed my heart. It broke things open, because that was the time for me to hear it. It doesn't matter what it does, but the main thing is when you give like that, you free yourself. You actuate that part of you that's real. When you share how you feel, you ask how somebody else is feeling, and you treat it like gold. You treat it like gold, because it is gold. It is pure gold, raw, unmined, unfiltered gold. And see what God does with that. Stay open. You can learn to stay awake, because you get tired of having a gold manufacturing plant and realizing all your life is just nothing but taxes and payroll. That's what it becomes, is taxes and payroll. And you're sitting there going like, oh my God, I didn't sign up for this. I thought it was about gold. It is about gold, but it's raw, unrefined gold that's everywhere, and you're rolling in it. You're
You
rolling
know,
in it.
do you remember the Twilight episode where I can't recall it perfect. I mean, this I don't know, these gangsters in the 1950s, they do pull off a heist, and they hide all of their gold, and then they step into some sort of time warp. I can't remember the episode. Anywhere 20 years later, they wake up, and they go back, and they found the gold. It had been buried. They uncover it, but 20 years later, the planet has changed, and gold has become worthless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's, we're seeing that happen right now with things that we as baby boomers thought were valuable, that are showing up now as worthless. And of course, we can also see how like Gen Zers and stuff like that are doing the same thing, creating what they think is valuable now, that we can look at and go, that's as worthless as this was to us. It's
I I've got to jump in on this one because this is the intuitive hit I'm getting. Dale, what we're doing is valuable. Wisdom is valuable. The
yeah,
heart is valuable, as if it's something new. I mean, Jesus was telling this 2,000 years ago, so they had to wipe him, but they couldn't kill him because it wasn't him, it was the message, because everything else is temporal. And this is what a lot of people are predicting right now. They're predicting, imminent collapse. I'm surprised the dollar hasn't collapsed yet. And that's another reason why I just show up every Sunday to record and edit, because I come from a wealthy family. My story. Grandma and grandpa. With all their bonds and safe deposit boxes. But this. All of that. No disrespect to my grandparents. I love them, but green paper strips and little round metal discs. This message that's coming through you, Dale, is the commodity. It's wealth.
yeah, it's wealth. It's wealth to be free. And um, it's a, yeah, it's a trip. It's so that's my story. I stick with it. I work with it. You know, I find that, the thing about thinking is really good because I mean, if somebody was said to me like, well, how do you resist not using your thinking to create something? And I'm sitting here going like, well, like right now, you're hearing the stuff that's coming out of me, and my ego says, people in ministry, former ministry and people now need to hear this. They need to, you should start, and I go, you should start, he goes, you should start a ministry. You should start something that gets this expressed. And my response to that internally, when I go that place, is like, I can get kind of excited about that. And then I go, is that door open before me now? Am I walking in that? And I go, no, then, well, I let that go because what I find now is everything that I am, quote, to do, I'm already doing it when I notice that it's happening. When the idea comes, I'm noticing it by actually being in the experience of it, because that's how letting go and insight works. Is you're actually in it. You're not guided to do anything. You're actually walking in it, and you're going like, oh, kind of like that thing where I had that thing where I had been dark night of the soul, and I'd been so desperate about, being homeless and feeling so bad about that, and then bottom line was, in a way, I actually became that, and I went, oh, that's what this is like. That's what this is like. Well, this is pretty good actually. This is beautiful. I get why Jesus didn't carry around a satchel or carry around, a billfold or anything like that, because he didn't need anything like that. He did not need anything. He had no energy or focus towards that. He pulls a coin out of a fish's mouth. Why? Because he could? No, because probably spirit, like Lazarus, raising Lazarus from the dead. I don't think he planned that. I don't think he thought that was a good thought or anything. I think insight came through him and went, Lazarus, rise. And he was like, wow, God is something else. This is amazing. I always thought when somebody died, they stayed dead. But they rise. I said something again with the children, and I cracked me up because I could hear laughter, and I could also hear people's minds going like, what the hell is he saying here? And I was talking, and the kids laughed too, and I said something because it's true. I was talking about something about, instead of letting go, but trying to manipulate something in their terms, try and work on something to get rid of a problem that they had, instead of giving love or giving what they needed to give. And I said, I talked to Jesus, and when he said that, when I told him that plan, he said, yeah, he said, that didn't work for me either. And I heard people laugh, and I also think I heard people going like, I don't think Jesus would say that, would he? And be like, well, why wouldn't he say that? He's our brother. Why wouldn't he say everything like that? Why wouldn't he say everything of human condition? Because certainly he not only knew everything of human condition, he probably most certainly went through it like we did. In some way, God collapsed him and freed him, freed him. And that's why he was so powerful, because he wasn't just bringing a new loaf of bread to the dinner. He'd been at the dinner. He'd brought the stale bread. He'd brought that he had to work for. He'd done all that, and then he's bringing the best wine. Because that's what shows, it transforms itself right there, and he knows it. He says, "Yeah, there's nothing to fear here." Like depression, that's why I like depression. I counsel people with depression. I go, God, you're in a great spot. I mean, Kubler-Ross, Death and Dying, she says, what's the step before acceptance, which is bliss, by the way. Full acceptance is full bliss. And that's the final stage. She doesn't say that's the end of, that's the last step of death and dying, is acceptance. And I'm telling you, it's not acceptance like, oh shit, I guess I just have to accept this. It's like, oh my God, what was I afraid of? Ah, bliss, freedom, total freedom, freedom from suffering, total freedom from suffering. And what precedes that? What precedes that? She called it depression. She called that step before that depression, which you even had to work at to get to, because you didn't get to depression until you exhausted denial, anger, and bargaining. You had to go through all that process of the human condition, of which is what you're going to do. Denial, like when you were saying what you were going through, that's what you go through. You have to go through all of that, of denial, anger, and bargaining. You have to wear them down to nothing, so that you can sit there and go, I can't deny this. I can't be angry anymore. It is what it is. And I have nothing else to give. I have nothing to trade. I have nothing to trade. And then it's like, I'm lost. I'm lost in nothingness. And in that loss of nothingness, when you finally lose it, then it's like, oh my God, I'm free. I'm free. Now I'm free for eternity. I have been free since before I was born. Oh my gosh. And then you have, this is why we're doing this ministry, because I don't know how we got into all fractured selves and consciousnesses of individual selves and stuff like that. I don't know what that's about. I don't think it's wrong, but I don't know what that's about. I really don't. And I don't really even much have a clue as to what it's about. But I do know where it's moving, because I can see how the bliss really is multiplied from the shared awareness that it is you and I together in this, as one, as one, that I'm not alone. I'm one with someone, and others who are not even someone, and others who are me, and I'm free. I'm free.
Dale, do you I love the title of the Zoom call. When I'm thinking I'm batshit crazy, but secondary to that would be how the Velveteen Rabbit became a real bunny.
Yeah.
Because
Same story.
if life has to wear us down before we're free, the Velveteen Rabbit had to be left out of the rain, and his eyes poked out, and all of his fur, had to fall off before he became a real bunny.
Yeah. And the thing, the story is such that the Velveteen Rabbit has some consciousness there, like we do. That's the whole thing, is because we're saying that this is a bitch. This is a real bitch to have to go through this. And it's like the universe is going, in a way, if it was being like sarcastic, it would say, well, who do you think created it? Who do you think made it? Like when we were having that thing with or like the friend that said you had to kill the ego on that one thing, or just when we talked earlier in these talks, and someone was reacting so strong to the ego, and it was almost like the ego is being treated like something that was forced on them or made by someone else to be in their way. We're the ones that did it. We're the ones that went through and it's not wrong. It's not wrong that we did it. This is where I say I don't know why we're doing this. I do know, like the ego again too. If the ego says, "Well, shouldn't I not exist because I'm still trying to protect you from a false, hostile world?" And I'm going like, no, slow down a little bit here, buddy. You exist because you exist, and everything in this universe has purpose and meaning, and love and joy and connection. So we can't say that. We can't say that even that what you consider a lie is wrong. Lies have power too. Lies are the truth that make you free. When you see them, when you see a lie that you're living, and you see that it's a lie, when you actually see it, that is transformative. It isn't something that says, "Oh, God damn, why did I think that way? Why did I think that way? Bad boy, bad boy, bad self, bad self." No, it's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm free." But that freedom came from that. It came from that wearing out, the Velveteen Rabbit. It comes from that, and that process of us wearing out the self and the world. You got to say, you got to realize it's part of the whole, because it's happening. Unless you're going to be, unless you can somehow, in incredible egoic arrogance, say we have the power to create shit out of perfection, and then, oh, magically perfection corrects us. That is such an egotistically arrogant stand. It's like, it's a joke, and it's okay to be egotistically arrogant, but at some point you have to look at it and go, my God, that's really pretty limiting, isn't it? A lot of egotistic arrogance, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I don't think that works, does it anymore? It's like, oh, and then Jesus goes, well, it never worked for me. When you go, this is great. This is great, Jesus. Wow, man. Wow, buddy. This is wonderful. And Jesus is going like, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's like almost like he says, finally, I got somebody I can talk to. He's going like, finally, I got somebody I can talk to who's not going to worship me. Who's going to say, yeah, who's going to get next to me and give me a big hug and say, we're one in this. Like, yeah, we're one in it. Oh, thank you. Thank you for helping me come home. You're doing your part. And Jesus would go like, oh, I didn't do it. It was a God job. There were times I didn't want to have anything to do with you, and that's okay too. That's okay too. That's all right too. It all works. The point is accepting as you start to disconnect from the batshit craziness. When that starts to happen, that you disconnect from it. And there's people who will listen to this who are locked into ways of thinking like unity, or say something, I'm picking on them, but I'll say like unity or more enlightened kind of thinking, like Course in Miracles and stuff like that. They'll go, wait a minute, no, 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 no. But because they have to control it. They have to control how it plays out, rather than just say, you know what, I'm a fool for God. And I'm a grateful fool for God. I'm a grateful fool for God. I don't know anything. I don't know anything other than it's safe. I'm whole. I'm the light of the world. And in the most crazy schemes I could make up, God always has my back in that, always frees me.
All right, it's a runner-up now. When I'm thinking I'm batshit crazy or I'm a fool for God. I think I got to lighten up the titles of these. I think I'm a fool for God was a little more vanilla. Dale, I love listening to you every Sunday, so I'm just thrilled. You have to listen very carefully because these are deep topics. But these are deep topics. No, that's not true. You are unwinding deep topics. You're not giving us deep topics. You're unwinding the topics that are already very complicated. So I just love doing this. All right. This has been Kenneth Price, Reverend Kenneth Price, with Reverend Dale Blackford on Sunday, October 13th. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave your comments below. Go down to our website, twoormoreareone.com, and I think that's it, Dale. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Kenny. Thanks for calling me too, because they don't know the history, but I had something going on with the hospital and my partner earlier today and lost focus. But that's the whole thing too. And a part of me went, "Oh, I forgot, I lost focus." And then again, I laugh. I got to laugh. You call me, and I'm going like, "Well," I'm making a thing up like, "Well, I'll talk to you about when we can do it." And then it just hits me and goes, "Well, why don't you just do it right now, Dale? Why don't you just do it right now?" And I call my partner in the hospital. And I say, I need to do this. I want to do this right now. She goes, go ahead and do it. Yeah, I'm good. And it all.
I'm not a sycophant, but I've got to just give it to you straight, Dale, that your message is a message that I don't get anywhere else. I get bits and pieces of it, and over there, at Namaste, I heard a lot of, joy, love, light, which is fine if you're at a 100 IQ level. But unfortunately, I was given some gifts up here that I have a lot more to unwind. And so that's why I look forward to this every Sunday. All right, I've talked too much. So check out our website, twoormoreareone.com. Look down in the description line, contact either one of us, and we look forward to hearing from you. So
if you have questions, if there's audience members out there that have questions about what we're saying, put them out there. We'll talk about them. I love, especially hard questions. I love hard questions. I love them.
All right, here's one. Who created the ego? No. Would be on for another hour. Next Zoom call. All right. God bless, and may the force be with you.